Hello everyone, this is my favorite topic. I know people think I'm weird, but it's my favorite topic. I love personality tests. So first I want to talk about why people don't like them. There are a lot of people who don't like them, which I think is so weird because even from a young age, I loved taking those tests, like aptitude tests, where they could be like, what learning style are you? And what kind of career field would you be good in? And that kind of stuff. Oh, I loved it. I loved doing those things in school. That's a very blue trait, by the way, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But Gretchen Rubin actually has a whole podcast about why you should take personality tests, and they spend a good chunk of time talking about why people don't like them. I think, to be brief, that people don't like them because they don't like being put in boxes, and we don't tend to like labels or categories. We want to think that we're unique, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Because we are all unique, but we're all such a mixture of qualities, and yet you've probably felt like more connected with somebody and like they just understand you more than other people do. And so I think that there's something to that. So as long as you can kind of dispel that mindset and get rid of that idea that just because you get like a primary color or you get a tendency or whatever, that puts you in some kind of box or that it limits you. Instead, it should be thought of as a tool where you can see the positive parts of your personality and develop those, and then you can see the parts of your personality that maybe need some adjusting and use that test as a tool to help you grow and to help you know the areas of weakness that you might want to work on or how maybe others might perceive you, and again, just to build better habits in your life. It's so helpful. So I've taken a lot of personality tests. The Myers-Briggs, I'm an ISFJ. That's 16 personalities if you've heard it called that, and you can go and read like a really in-depth description of whichever one you are, and I would love to know which one you are so I could go and read about you. The 16 is awesome, and it's super in-depth, and I love it. But I don't feel like it's easy for me to instantly understand a person when they tell me which one of the Myers-Briggs they are. Like, I have to go and read your description to get it. My favorite personality test is the color code. It was renamed to the People Code, and it's a book by Taylor Hartman. I love this. I love it because it helps me understand and appreciate people, and it helps me know who I'll connect with, and it helps me to know how to interact with people and kind of the qualities that they possess. And the great thing about the color code is it's about your core motive. Like, what is the reason behind the way that you act? And I think that helps me be more patient of and accepting of people, more patient with and accepting of people. Just because we're kind of born with this stuff. And the other awesome thing about the color code is how you can be a mixture. Like, you take the test, and then you get your score, and you get certain scores. There's obviously 4 colors. There's red, blue, yellow, and white, and you get your score. And you can see some people are like super evenly split kind of across the board, which is kind of rare. Mostly you're usually one primary color and a secondary color, and you might have a couple in the other two. If you are familiar with this, I'm a blue-red, and that tells you, as a child, I was very, very, very much a blue personality. Like, this description fit me 110%, me. And since getting this and since understanding the color code, I've actually worked a lot on the flaws of blue personalities. They can be perfectionists. They expect a lot out of people. They get disappointed easily. They have trust issues. We have a lot of problems. Every color does. And so I love this because it helps me know who I am and who other people are and what we have in common or where we can find common ground. So I love it. I love it. And I think knowing the qualities that you possess and the things that you have to fight against, like whites have to fight against being lazy. That's just their natural inclination is to like be at rest. Whites just love to be lazy, but they also love safety and stability. Reds are mostly about power. Blues, their core motive is intimacy, and yellows, their core motive is fun. I have none of that in my personality makeup, just so you all know. 0 fun in Janae's personality. No lie. I am not fun. So anyway, highly recommend. Love this one. Obviously, I've told you I love Gretchen Rubin. So this is one of her books called Better Than Before, and this other one called The Happiness Project. I've recommended her podcast to you guys, the Happier Podcast. The reason that I love it and highly, highly, highly recommend it as you're trying to form healthier lifestyles is that she has a personality framework, and she's coming out with a book for it soon. It's called The 4 Tendencies, and she discusses it a little bit in here. But you have four tendencies in personalities, and you can see a lot in common with the color code, but it analyzes a different part of your personality. So the 4 tendencies analyze how you meet expectations, outer and inner expectations. You have upholders, that's like me. You'll find a lot of blue personalities are also upholders. They are very intrinsically motivated. They meet outer and inner expectations readily. So if I say I'm going to do a half marathon, I'm going to do a half marathon, I'm going to train for it, and I don't need to report to anybody, I'm just going to do it. The next one, that's pretty uncommon. The next most uncommon one is a rebel. They have trouble meeting outer and inner expectations, even if they have good intentions. Say they love woodworking, right? And they sign up for a woodworking class that's next weekend. And then it'll be like Friday night, and they're like, I don't want to go to that. And then it's Saturday, and they're like, no, not going to go. They might have paid for it. They might have signed up for it. And they might love woodworking, but they just won't go. Like, it baffles me. My mom is a rebel. Sorry, Mom, throwing you under the bus. They just fail to meet those expectations, and they don't do well in these kinds of groups with accountability and reporting. They don't like that. They don't like expectations in general. They just want to do what they want to do, and that's not to say they can't get things accomplished. They're very successful rebels. Anyway, Gretchen Rubin goes into deep analysis of all of these. The other two, by the way, are obligers. They're the most common. You'll find the most obligers. Many people in this group are obligers. You do better having some accountability, having a success partner, having someone to report to who you say, yes, I did it, or hey, let's go run because we said we would. And so obligers do better and are most successful having someone to report to. The last one is a questioner, which actually I'm kind of a mix of upholder. I'm an upholder with a tendency to question. Questioners do a lot of research. They will meet expectations if it makes sense to them. So they just have to make sure they've thoroughly researched and analyzed every angle, and that they get it, and that it's the best option, and they're just highly analytical people. My dad is a questioner. So I highly, highly recommend that you take the test, and because it can be so helpful in understanding how you make or break habits, how you meet expectations, your own and other people's, and then that can be used as a tool to help you be successful in making some changes in your life, in health and fitness, or in any other regard. The other thing that's great about Gretchen Rubin's podcast is she has a Know Yourself Better segment. She's done things like, are you an abstainer or a moderator, which I think we've talked about, or we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about it on day 9. Abstainer, moderator. She talks about, are you a lark or a night owl? Like, are you most productive and most energetic at night or in the morning? Like, do you wake up early? So she has this segment in her podcast almost every episode, and it's so helpful because she analyzes it, deep dives into it, and talks about how, what it means for you and forming your habits, and making changes and getting things done, and kind of knowing yourself better and setting yourself up to move towards success, because now you know that this is something you struggle with. Other recommendations really quick. I mentioned that I'm a self-help, what's the word? A self-help nerd? I don't even know. Anyway, how to win friends and influence people. It's not a personality test. However, I think that reading books like this, where you recognize patterns in people and in yourself, and you go, oh, that's true. Oh, he's so right. Oh my gosh. And so then you start seeing all these tools and start applying them and using them to your advantage. So I really think that these types of books help you know yourself better and help you be more successful in life in general. I mentioned The Speed of Trust. This is mostly geared toward businesses and companies and leadership, but there are parts in here that really can hit home for you personally in terms of being able to trust yourself. So you say you're going to get up at 5:30 to work out, but deep down you know you're going to hit snooze, right? And so stop setting your alarm for 5:30 and set your alarm for the time that you really are going to get up. That's kind of one example he talks about in this book. I really like it. I like it a lot, but I have other things I would recommend before you go into that one. And then I bought this one. I haven't read it yet, but Emotional Intelligence. So again, I love just finding patterns in people so that it helps me understand them and figure out how to help Just them. To close up, I really, again, I love personality tests in that they give you all of the tools to know yourself better, to know where you lack, what you need to work on, and then give you the tools to be more successful toward whatever aim you're working for. You'll see a lot of this stuff. Gretchen Rubin's podcast, she talks about those tendencies, and she actually has an episode dedicated to each tendency, which is super interesting. I can link you up if you're interested, but take the test first. And then it's just cool to hear her, like Gretchen is an upholder and her sister is an obliger. And so Gretchen will often make suggestions for Liz to follow through with certain things, and she'll be like, well, what if you have to tell me by Friday? So Gretchen is providing her some accountability, and she's also giving her a deadline. Obligers need deadlines. So again, I just really think that these tools are super helpful as you're attempting to make changes in your life, and it helps me kind of know you better and how to help you and kind of what is the best approach to use with you. But I love this stuff. I'm a total geek, I know, but I just think it's so cool. So anyway, ISFJ, blue, upholder, moderator, lark. Actually, I kind of like being awake at night, but then I just feel like I wasted the day the next morning if I sleep in. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys get on the 4 tendency test and hearing if you have the 16 personalities, what your results are on that. And if you've done the color code, oh my gosh, it's my favorite one. I love it. And I could actually, with some of you, I could probably call out which color or colors I think that you are, but not all of you, just some of you. So anyway, happy Friday. I hope you guys have a great night, and I look forward to seeing your answers.